Hello and welcome to the Wad Fam Chalk Pod. I'm Andrew Sabo.
And I'm Dylan Weaver.
And I'm still hosting the show. And we are back today to cover Aloha Oi Part 3. I didn't write down what episode number that is.
It's 258. Because,
oh my gosh,
everyone was sitting on the edge of their seats in anticipation.
I'm so glad
I heard they're covering Aloha Oi number 3, but I don't know how to find it until I hear the episode number.
Because that's how the AIO Club is organized.
Yep, it is not.
Nope, not at all. It would actually maybe be better than by album? I don't know.
I think both are beneficial. I definitely, prior to this podcast, thought of everything in album.
Yeah.
And then because of this podcast, think of it all in episode numbers now.
Fair. All right. And as we said, we're covering Aloha Oi Part 3. There's no changes in cast this episode, with the exception of...
Yeah, one very important.
Mr. Hodges, Joe Hodges himself. Is he a lieutenant? Well,
I don't know. He's assistant to the general or whatever.
Yeah.
Actually, I would say that there's maybe one other person worth pointing out besides Joe Hodges. Joe Hodges, voiced by Bill Mayer, who we've talked about before because he does a bunch of voices, including in 60-something, where he's Jim Reeves. Mm-hmm. And more recently, we talked about him as the retreat speaker in Life in the Third Person, Part 1.
Oh, boy.
Yep.
Fabled. Fabled Bill Mayer.
Uh-huh. And then, the other person of note. I'm sorry, Andrew. I'm stepping on your toes here. Who's the other person on the list who's of note?
Sir Admiral Corridon?
Yep.
Corridon is voiced by none other than Hal Smith.
Yeah. Did you notice it in the episode?
No, I did not.
Oh,
honestly.
I absolutely did.
Which is crazy considering the amount of times I've listened to it. Never picked up on that.
Yeah. Trivia from the wiki, which, it's fine trivia, but This is the final episode that Hal Smith is playing a character other than Whit.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. How many times does he play characters other than Whit before this, though?
Not often. I would say very rarely when Whit is not in the episode.
Yeah.
I would say it's way more common that he does it, when Whit's in the thing. But, he's credited for 61 characters total. Mm-hmm. So, the man gets around.
That's fair.
It's just a lot of, adventures Imagination Station adventures or
BTV.
Kids Radio. BTV comes later. I think BTV is all post Hal Smith. But regardless,
Kids Radio.
Yep.
With that being said, cast out of the way, we have just the same promo as last week.
Yeah. No promo for this one.
Naked.
Because we already did it.
So we just jump right in. So the episode begins with Donna on the speedboat with... What is his name? The speedboat captain?
Who cares?
Who cares? His name is Who Cares the Captain.
He's not even a captain.
Yeah. Vague parasailing authority figure.
There you go. He's an entrepreneur.
Yeah. So Donna's talking to Rodney over the headset on the boat with Mr. Person authority figure from Parasailing Company.
Yes.
And
the CEO of Parasail Enterprises.
Exactly. Headquartered in Honolulu. So Rodney's parachute is floating down to the water because at the end of last episode he unhitched from his tow line.
Yep, and you were under the impression that he was just going to float away forever, whereas I thought he was going to crash into the water.
Well, okay, so I didn't think he was going to float away forever. I suggested he would float down. You suggested he would fall straight down.
Yes, no, you won.
Thank you.
You absolutely did. I was just trying to see if I could get away with saying that I was right.
Dylan 56, Andrew 4. Yeah, so he gets caught in enough draft, though, and starts floating even farther away. So he's floating towards Pearl Harbor, and Donna and Mr. Authority Man have to go rescue him.
Yeah, which brought up an interesting question of, I guess, I understand that there are, waters that belong to a country versus international waters. I get that conceptually. Mm-hmm. I didn't ever think about, military waters.
Yeah, but it makes sense.
I mean,
you
like,
got
it's
land
gotta be a
bases.
thing,
Yeah, yeah.
but it's just so funny that it's like he, like, blows into...
Are the fish in military waters, like, considered military fish?
I mean, they have to be, Andrew. There's no other way this world makes sense.
Well, but, like,
No.
you can't fish in military waters, so clearly
Yeah.
they're entitled
They're
to
all
it.
deputized. Those fish could arrest you if they wanted to.
They know things.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
They actually started the JFK CIA conspiracy.
I was going to say they're responsible for waterboarding in Guantanamo.
It's fine. We can breathe. It'll be great for them. Oh, man. Fish
Dark
mafias
laughter.
aside.
Yeah.
So he's carried to Pearl Harbor, and then we cut to the Barclays and the Rathbones stranded on the boat because it died.
Yep, because they are, we discover that they are out of gas.
Yes.
Whereas last time it sounded like the engine just stalled.
Yeah.
But, granted, those things do sound very similar. Mm-hmm. So, they're out of gas.
Yes.
However, he thought that the engine had stopped working. And
Yes.
cut a cord to fix the engine.
Yes.
And that cord was the radio.
Yes, that is what is established in this scene. And George Barkley is the one picking up on it, and Captain Quid says that he should be a sailor because of how observant he is.
Yes. I would suggest that Quid walk the plank at this point.
Well, they don't
except
even
that he
need
just throws himself into the water with a bag of pork rinds.
Yes, with the bag of pork rinds. Presumably, well, I guess if it's open, it can't function as a flotation device. Yeah, no, that's...
He's just eating some wet, salty pork rinds.
Those disintegrate, presumably. Like, could you imagine swimming with an open bag of potato chips?
Yeah, but they're pork rinds, Andrew.
They're... Okay. I'm pretty sure chemically they're more alike than they are different.
Yeah, but these ones have pork and rinds in them.
You're right.
Pork's not going to dissolve in water. Neither are rinds.
They could be cured, in fact, actually. They could be improved upon through the swimming process. Is saltwater aged meat a thing?
I hope not.
Yeah, I think that's just like
It
parasites.
probably is. And it probably is in places where the salt water is actually, like, good. But, you know.
Not in military waters. Not with that military fish.
Yeah.
No way.
True. Military fish will mess you up.
Yeah. So they're out of gas, and
And out of a captain.
Bails. Yeah, and we learn that he sings bingo while he swims, and he apparently is an incredible swimmer with impressive endurance because he's going to swim 3 to 4 miles.
Yeah.
Back to shore.
I don't know how unreasonable that is. I feel like I should call resident swimming expert Adam Deckard.
Yeah.
Friend of the show.
Yeah, friend of the show, Adam. I mean,
It does seem like a lot.
that's a lot. Like, I don't know. As a kid, I was told that for Boy Scouts, I was going to have to swim a mile, and I was like, there's no way. I don't have the energy for that. Like, I don't know how hard it is to do as an adult, but I'm a terrible swimmer, so there's no way that I did.
I am also a bad swimmer. I can swim enough to stay alive.
Yep. I got that one down. Most of the
But-
time.
Right, exactly.
I also like body surfing.
Right, but I also would not want to be caught in a rip with no lifeguard.
Certainly not.
That
No.
would be the end of me.
Yeah. No, it's, I've been caught in rips before, and it's just exhausting. Yeah. This has been Swim Corner.
No thanks.
No thanks. So then the next scene is Jimmy and Lawrence and Mr. Yoe at the boat.
Iowa.
Sorry.
No, you're allowed to call him that, Andrew. I just cannot stand for it.
That's fair. Okay. Well, we also get an alternate pronunciation from Donna in this episode that I wrote down phonetically to sound out later. Because that makes 3.
Okay. Good to know.
And so Lawrence's dad is unfortunately not on the boat.
Yep, he left 20 minutes ago.
Yep.
This will be a trend.
Definitely. Of just by the hair of his chinny chin chin, not seeing them, he's going to the base for some feast.
Well, the commander or the general he serves
Yes.
is going to the base for a feast.
Yeah, that's thrown by some important government thing. What was I thinking? I wrote the goose preserved the porch.
The goose preserved the porch. That means nothing.
Yeah. What? Okay.
It's been a rough couple days for you.
Yeah, I've been really been on it.
So, yeah. We find out in this scene, like, Don says something in Hawaiian, and the guard's just like, no.
Oh, that's it. That's what the goose preserved the porch is.
Oh.
It's the normal thing that Don Ioe was trying to say, or the goose preserved the porch. I get them mixed up sometimes. Call back to
no, but this isn't. I get them mixed up sometimes. This is. He says something not in Hawaiian, and the person
guy
on
corrects
detail
him. Yeah.
is like, the goose preserves the porch.
Yes,
Just
exactly.
further proof that Don is just a mess of a
An
man.
oaf. Cancel Don on Twitter. Yeah, this is just a wonderful mess of a 20-minute episode. So then we cut to actually the best part, which is Donna and Rodney. Donna.
Yes.
So Rodney is not attached to his parachute. They pull up beside him. She's still talking to him through the walkie in his helmet, which apparently works underwater. I suppose it's good for parasailing. But Rodney's presumably just treading water in the middle of the ocean, not anywhere near his parachute.
Yep.
And then they swing on by to pick him up.
But he still does have his radio helmet on.
Yes, he did not take that off, which maybe super smart. I
Yeah,
feel like
might
saved
be
his
the
life.
smartest thing Rodney's ever done.
Yeah. So they come up beside of him. They pick him up. He obviously fights Donna because wounded pride and everything. And they are immediately pulled over by Navy police, which have the exact same sound as cop cars.
Yep.
Somebody who's been pulled over by Navy police, please confirm whether that is the case or not. I would presume more of like a train horn type situation for boats, but
Hey,
maybe not.
you never know. Yeah. And then we jump back to the boat
Yeah.
in which everyone's just
Thirsty and complaining.
right. Everybody's whining, and Doris doesn't understand the concept of distance.
No. The island's getting smaller. Doris, you have a child. Doris, you can drive a car. How? Okay. These are pork rind people. We are not pork rind people.
I am
So frustrated.
so upset with her.
I'm so disappointed in this episode.
It's the worst joke.
It's
just like
all of them are bad.
Yep.
It's really, really frustrating.
Look,
yeah.
do we have anything else we need to say about this scene?
No, they're drifting out to sea. They look for the anchor. It's a metal thing, and then they pull up one end of the rope, and then
Right.
the other end of the rope. There's no anchor. Oh my goodness!
Right.
They're taking on water, and then they
Good
use the-
visual bit doesn't translate great here, but you
No.
know, we still get the gist.
Yeah. Then they
Right.
start taking on water while
Yeah.
they're rowing.
No, but they gotta first find their oars.
Yes.
Or what? Do you hear the disdain in my tone?
In the silence, do you hear it? If you have smart speed on, you won't, but needless to say, not happy. So they're in a boat taking on water, and they start using the coin purses. Doris complains that they're made out of leather. No, Doris, they are not. You bought them for $5.
But she could have paid $2.50 each.
That's true. That's true.
She got them for a deal.
She got a great deal. And George Barkley, pastor-to-be, in their dire moment, throws up a prayer to God, and just like in all the movies, the U.S. government comes out of nowhere and rescues them. The USS Ben Franklin, nonetheless, rescues them, and they are taken aboard.
Woo-hoo.
Just in time for us to cut back to Donna and Rodney.
Best scene of the episode.
Yeah, that's also the one featuring the new pronunciation to add to the dictionary.
The gist of this or at least the part where I was like, oh, this is really solid, is Donna's like talking to Rodney about all this, and she genuinely apologizes
for being mean.
Yeah. And it's like, a character like Rodney exists for everyone to rag on.
Yeah.
So you don't really think about the fact that she's ragging on him.
Yeah.
In that episode. Like, I did not listen to the first episode and go, wow, Donna, what a jerk.
Fair.
I just went like, yeah, sure.
She was a 16-year-old responding to an annoying boy.
Yeah. But I was just like, oh.
But she's very mature, and she apologizes for her side of things.
Yep.
And
Rodney's like, yeah, that's not what I was doing. But thanks.
He was trying to experience the essential Hawaii like his pops. Bart wasn't around to correct him.
Don't call me Pops.
Yeah. We need a soundboard for just those bits. I am once again petitioning you to get a soundboard for this podcast.
I am once again throwing out that I don't want to be a morning zoo show.
Oh. Anyway, she's referencing and she says, I-O-way. Don Iowe.
Okay.
Is the third
as opposed to how is it normally said?
Iowa or Iowa.
Right, she combines the two. Okay, fair enough.
Or Bart's Mr. Yoe.
Sure. The situation here is that like the military guy who picked them up, like then neither of them had IDs, so they were just like left on the boat while the entrepreneur just got to go off on his way.
Yeah, because he was done. Yeah, I mean he had his boat, everything was good. He had to go back and get the parachute. Duh.
Yeah, exactly.
So they're stranded there, waiting to contact their parents. When they get back to the shore.
Yep.
And we cut to Lawrence and Jimmy and Don at a feast, and they won't let him in. It's the classic sneak the kids in as busboys bit.
Right.
It's been used on every single television show.
Breaking into a military dinner feels illegal.
Yeah, oh yeah. Definitely feels illegal. Also, the way they did it, considering the Ioe knew the catering company and they owed him one. I mean, plot convenience for plot convenience. You know, I won't rag on him for that.
I want that spinoff.
Yeah, but the catering company owed
Sign me up.
Ioe.
Sign me up for the. They brought back Captain Quid. Can we get them bringing back Don Iowa?
Ioe comes to Odyssey. Ooh, that's some reboot territory. Some deep cut stuff. Or maybe we'll just leave it on the club. That's something that only the club members get to enjoy.
Yeah, no,
because
that's a
Focus
club
likes
exclusive.
them more. Exclusive. I love exclusive. Yeah. Anyway, so
I love Lucy Cunningham Schultz.
Amen. Amen. Prayer hands. So they're trying to find their dad, trying to find Lawrence's dad. Jimmy is obviously apprehensive. Neither of them have ever had jobs before. So there's that whole bit, which is kind of funny. Yep. They run into the corporal, and the corporal gets upset, and so he runs away. Yeah, so then they realize that his dad is not, in fact, there.
Right. Once again. He's gone.
He was there, is no longer there.
Yep.
I'm sorry, son. And so then we cut to the parents that are on the boat. The Rathbones and the Barkleys have been rescued. And who I immediately recognized as Lawrence's dad.
Right, well, just because it's how the episode's plotted.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, I've never heard this man's voice, but obviously he is Lawrence's dad.
Yeah. Comes in, delightful guy.
Sure. How do the Barkleys not know even what he looks like?
That they must not do Christmas cards. That's
like,
the only logical explanation.
It really bugged me because I was just like, we've established that like the Hodges and the Barkleys are close, and I understand that he's not like around regularly, but it is wild that they go through like a long conversation with the man and
never
completely miss it.
Yeah, well, and also, don't most military personnel have their last name, like, on their person? Like,
You're right.
Absolutely. Definitely some context clues could have helped them out.
Yeah.
So they are worried about contacting their kids. So of course the assistant to the communication or specialty communications officer can help them out. And they were already at the base waiting for them because conveniently they were picked up.
Yep.
Yeah, and then the lieutenant leaves, and everybody is reunited at the base, and everybody is so happy.
Except for Lawrence.
Except
who's
for
off
Lawrence.
in a corner sad.
Yeah, because he didn't get to find his dad.
And Donna wishes there was some way to cheer him up.
Mm-hmm.
And Don
ruins it.
Right on the freaking nose, and nobody wants it.
Nope.
The only way for that to happen is for his father to walk through the door.
Oh my goodness, his father walked through the door.
Yeah, and then he walks back in and goes, "Oh good, you're still here." Lawrence!
Yeah, and then there's the... Okay, so he came back in looking for his hat, right? Isn't that what he says when he walks back in?
Yes.
He's looking for his hat. So
yes.
Did EOA steal his hat?
No, I think the implication is that his hat was stolen by Doris as a souvenir.
Oh. I didn't pick up on that. That's glorious. Perhaps
they don't
redeeming quality.
They don't hit it hard enough,
no.
But he says that he set it down next to the other lady when he's talking to Mary. And so, yeah, the subtle joke there is Doris stole his hat as a souvenir.
Which is incredible. That's actually a good joke regarding Doris.
Yes, I don't think they hit it well in the episode.
They didn't. No, unfortunately. Yeah. So, and then, of course, EOA comes back in. Was it Donna asks him, like, how'd you do that? He goes, old Hawaiian custom, happy ending. And then they cut to the cookout, and great news. They're just having leftovers. Lawrence's mom is flying out to visit them.
Yeah, which is wild.
Yeah, crazy. Just cuckoo's bananas.
He had some leave coming up, and so he... the general let him have it early. Yeah. And I will say, I do kind of appreciate, we glossed over it, but when they're in the military dinner and they get caught and they're talking to the general is like sympathetic to Lawrence.
Oh, yeah.
Which is like a nice little moment.
Yeah, because Lawrence basically breaks down.
Yeah.
He's like, I haven't seen him for 2 months, and if I don't see him today, I won't see him for another 6.
Right, and he's just like, son, I wish I get it. I wish we could, reunite you two. Unfortunately, he's out on a special assignment.
Yeah, he's just not here right now. So it's so great that they do get to come back together. And honestly, that's setting up them being reunited at the end is sweet. No matter how.
Yeah. I wish it wasn't so cheesily choreographed.
Oh yeah, no, it's Velveeta cheesy, man. It is the most processed, manufactured, carbon copy.
Yep,
shenanigans. Anyway, as I was saying, they finish at the cookout. Lawrence's mom is flying out. Rodney's trying to do the limbo on crutches, and we hear him fall down.
I mean, that's funny.
Yeah, that was nice.
And then Donna goes, "Hey, Jimmy, next time you win something, you win a trip somewhere, make it less sunny, because I have all this sunburn and it's horrible."
And then Jimmy smacks her back.
It's a great bit.
Incredible.
It is. It's the thing that we talk about all the time with Donna and Jimmy, where I'm just like, between like the performances and the writing, they just like figured out how to nail a sibling relationship in a way that like is not common.
No, it's just, I mean, the amount of times I've done that in my life, and I've had that done to me, where it's like whenever somebody gets a sunburn, it's like, oh, I'm just so sorry. Yeah, it's really delightful.
Yep, it's perfect. And that's the note it ends on.
Yep, so not them singing Aloha Oi together horribly off pitch, and then Donnie Oe telling Rodney not to keep singing.
You're right. I did forget about that.
Rodney, you don't have to do that. Like, what? Oh, man.
The women, now the man. Yeah.
Dylan, what did we learn from this episode?
We learned that Andrew is not allowed to choose three-parters.
Yep.
No, we learned genuinely, like, I think the insight from these episodes is we talk so much about Odyssey taking after sitcoms and kind of like trading in those tropes from time to time. But I think when I think through those, for the most part, at least the other stuff we've covered, it manages to stay true to the show. And I think where it falters in these three is trying to do more sitcom than Odyssey.
Yeah. There's so much action going on at all times. You don't get as many of those character on character dialogue moments that, like, especially in this part, we didn't hardly get any of them.
Right. When we get, like I said, we get the good conversation between Donna and Rodney.
Yeah.
But like, and some stuff is kind of touched on with Lawrence and his dad, but it just feels like, it feels like that stuff is underserved. And it's interesting because we covered Barkley Family Ski Vacation, which is another one of these whole Barkley Vacation things and whatever, which does have some tropiness to it and like a vacation episode of a show.
Yeah.
But like is still, I don't know, still focuses in on these character interactions and whatnot rather than hijinks.
Yeah.
And I think, this episode loses me because it is just hijinks. That the already two-dimensional characters of the Rathbones get flattened.
Yeah. They get even thinner.
That, Mary and George essentially have nothing to do in these episodes.
No.
That, there's a caricature of a man in Don, Iowa who who gets to be in the center stage.
Yeah.
And I don't think that they flesh out the Jimmy and Lawrence stuff well enough.
No.
I think all of they're basically barely in the last episode. And I think that Jimmy, what we kind of set up in the first episode of Jimmy trying to be a good friend to Lawrence as he's going through something hard and being kind of that older sibling figure for, like, Lawrence and Jimmy have a weird thing where it's like Jimmy's like older brother and best friend.
Yeah.
And I would have loved to see that dynamic explored rather than just this MacGuffin of them trying to get to his dad.
Yeah. It definitely shifts out of the interpersonal relationships that we really benefit from. But these episodes are also like 3 to 5 minutes shorter than they normally would be.
Yeah. And
just an idea that popped into my head was like, I think when it comes to vacations and stuff like that, and if we're talking about in reference to the ski vacation episode we just covered, having more nighttime recap scenes between the Barkleys in their hotel room at the end of every episode or in between to show passage of time.
Right. No, that's a great point.
And then you get them because they're sitting in a hotel room. Yeah. They can talk about how crazy stuff is.
Right. Because I'm just like, how long have they been down here? And now, we have no real concept of the passage of time.
Nope.
It feels like it is.
I think that's the other part.
It feels like it's all in one day. It also feels like they really stretched out these. None of these are full storylines.
No.
So you're doing a 3-parter, but there's not even one story arc.
Yes. Well, yeah, because pretty much every plot was established in the first episode and just stayed consistent till the end.
Yeah, and I think in this episode especially, I think really hurts from none of the isolation of those 3 story arcs.
Yeah, definitely.
Even just a scene where George is trying to recap to his children
Yeah.
what went on would be great.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
You've got the
It'd be
time to do it.
hilarious. Yeah.
Like,
they have
that
the
would be really
ability.
funny.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and they
Of
could've-
just, like, them not believing it.
Yeah. Like, you did what? You rented that car from where? The
sorry.
police. That's who picked you up.
Yeah. Like, there's a 3-parter where the Barkleys and Rathbones go to Hawaii has potential. Mm-hmm. And we see some of that potential in these episodes, but I think it just is, these episodes are just too shallow
Yeah.
for what I want from this show.
Certainly.
But, that doesn't mean that they're bad.
No,
Like,
and I
they
don't
can-
think that they have anything, like, damaging to
No,
say.
no. Aside from
Don.
Don, who is a train wreck of a human being.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, they're not. Yeah, they're not evil in the way that like some Odyssey we've talked about
Yeah.
is.
You're like,
And they're
this
not-
is actually problematic.
Yeah, and they're not like. Yeah, they're not.
They're not without its charms. The hijinks
Yes.
is nice, and
Yeah.
it is fun. It's just,
I've seen Odyssey do both better character story and better comedy.
yeah.
And this episode is trying to be both and winds up being neither.
Excellently put. No notes. Sir Dylan,
Yeah.
now that we have concluded our coverage of Aloha Oi Part 3, Andrew's one of his largest mistakes on this podcast.
No, dude, do not consider this a mistake. I had a ton of fun barely prepping for these episodes. And yeah, literally not taking notes for the first one. And
Nice.
taking, probably 10 lines of notes for the second and for the third.
Wow.
It's just, it's been fun compared to my normal like page and a half.
Yes, certainly. I'm glad that you enjoyed it.
I like talking to you.
And I like having a little bit more say in the structure of it. I don't know, it's just fun. It's been a really fun exercise to reverse the roles, as it were. But Dylan, would you mind just plugging something, anything at all? Perhaps a hole in the Barkley ship.
Good.
Callback?
Call back. I don't have a plug of my own, but we did get a new review on Apple Podcasts.
Hot dog.
So
Is it 5 stars?
it is a 5-star
I'll see
review.
if we can read it.
Yep, from Lotta Grace 32, who says, "Great. This show is very entertaining, and I like to listen to it to unwind. Thanks, Dylan and Andrew, for making this show."
Aw, what a sweetheart.
Yeah,
Thank you.
and she put our names in the right order.
Yes, she did. Yes, she did. The God-chosen order. It's not alphabetical, but
No.
it's the way the Lord intended
It's
it.
not alphabetical by first or last name. Andrew
Nope.
will always win that.
Nope, yep.
But the thing, eagle-eared listeners will have caught this if you listen through to the whole episodes every week, and if you don't, maybe listen to this one just so you can hear it, because I think it's very funny. But we always, in Nathan's credits for this 3-parter, he says the episode Aloha Oi Part 1 was hosted by Andrew Acebo and Dylan Weaver. Like it's reversed.
Got him. Does the delivery come out worse? I'll have to listen and find out.
Yeah, there's only one way to find out, Andrew.
And that's to keep listening. I don't have anything in particular. Oh, Encanto. If you haven't seen Encanto,
Okay.
friends, family of the show. It's great. It's on Disney Plus.
We're talking about Bruno?
Yeah. Well, we don't talk about Bruno, obviously. But
Oh,
yes,
man,
that movie.
Okay.
It's delightful. Animation is excellent. Character development is delightful. A lot about dealing with family trauma and stuff. It's good.
Can we talk about the mislaunched 90s musical career of Bruce Willis entitled Bruno?
No. What?
Is this the Bruno we don't talk about?
Yes, both, I think. Maybe that's well, so Bruno was originally supposed to be named Oscar, but they couldn't write a catchy song about it. So they had to switch his name.
I see. I was wrong. It's 87. Is Bruce Willis's The Return of Bruno.
Oh Lord. What is that, a musical?
No, it's an album.
Oh. What?
It is R&B music.
Bruce?
Sung by Willis, featuring backing musicians Booker T. Jones, the Pointer Sisters, and The Temptations.
Wow. I mean, I guess if you had money in the 80s and the Temptations didn't. Wow. Oofda.
Yeah.
All right. Well, with that all being said, I'm just going to leave you and never come back. No, we will be back next week to cover episode 4 of Adventures in Odyssey, Connie Comes to Town.
Single digits, baby.
Connie conversion arc coming at ya. Bye.
Bye, guys. That episode came out the same year as The Return of Bruno.
Wadfam Chalk Pod is a presentation of the Lidditz Podcast Co-op. This show is a fan podcast and has no official affiliation with Adventures in Odyssey or focus on the family. As such, the copyright is ours under Creative Commons. Follow the podcast at wadfamchalkpod on Twitter and Instagram, or email us at wadfamchalkpod@gmail.com. Aloha Oi Part 3 was hosted by Andrew Acebo and Dylan Weaver, and edited by Dylan Weaver. And I'm Nathan Haverston, hoping you'll join us again next time for more of the Wad Fam Chalk Pod.